Hi, my name's Ben and I'm a data engineer at Quintessence. Today we're going to be looking at reports. Reports are a way to store a particular set of functions that you want to execute again and again. So what we're going to be looking at is creating a set of functions that allows us to see the returns of instruments in a portfolio repeatedly. So if I go to the entity browser, I'm first going to get some market value data back in order to calculate my returns. So I search for portfolio 1, scroll to market value, copy the function, and we're going to go start in Excel. I paste my function in and I get my data back. Now, I'm only interested in 2 days, so I'm going to change my date from the 1st of March to the 2nd of March. I'm also not interested in seeing the data like this. I'm going to change the view parameter to say both. And what this does is it returns a crude pivoting of this table. We could use the pivot function to pivot this as well if we wanted to, but we're not going to do that for now. So if we have this data, in order to get the return, we'll take the first column and the second column and find the percentage difference between those two columns. Now in Excel, what we would often do is we'd say, all right, we're going to say C3 minus D3 close bracket divided by D3, and we would get a percentage difference. Or maybe we would divide by C3, so we get the difference for from that day onwards. So this has a minus 1% return, and we might drag this down. Now dragging this down isn't that great because we're not dealing with the whole array at a time. So we created a function called the transform function that lets you do this all at once. So here we say, okay, C1 is column 1 and C2 is column 2 and C3 is column 3, and we want to divide by column 2. And we can do this all at once, all right? Now here I'm still hard coding a range, and I don't want to hard code a range. I want to reference a range that can expand or get smaller, because the portfolio might have more or less instruments depending on the day. So I can take this function, I'm going to copy it, and we're going to go to the name manager in Excel and create a named range. So I'm going to call this raw data. I'm going to add a comment saying the data to create total, to create return from. I'm going to paste in my particular function. All right. When I click OK, this is great. I can go anywhere in my sheet and say equals raw data and get my block of data back. Now, instead of referencing this range, I can now say raw data, and I get my returns for my portfolio all the way down. Now, immediately we notice, hey, we don't actually want to be doing this calculation on the first line. So I can change my view. Instead of to both, I can say just row. Okay, and now I have to go do that in my name manager as well, but this is easy. So I go to my view that says both, and I say row. Okay, and when I update that, we'll see that my function that was referencing that named range also updates. Now I'm going to take this transform, I'm going to copy it, I'm going to create a new named range, and I'm going to call it return. And we'll say the comment is calculate the return. And I can paste in my function, which is great. Now the next step, I'm just going to sort this return according to the value. So we'll say equals sort data, type in return, comma, -2. So that's the second column descending, and we get back returns that are a blank and then returns thereafter. Now this is good enough for me for now. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go to my name manager, create a new one, call it result, sort the return to get the result, and I'm going to paste in my sort data function. I can close this, and now I can delete all of my working and just say equals result. And whenever I open the sheet, I will see the latest and the best returning instruments in my portfolio. Now I'm going to save this particular file just on the desktop. I'm going to call it return report. And we're going to move over to Quintessence, where we can import this report and actually have it available through a Quintessence function. So I go to reports, I'm going to create a new report. I'm going to type in portfolio 1 return. And there's an option to add parameters or a description, but we're not going to go into that now. I'm going to go to configuration, click on import at the top, import from Excel, choose my return report, open it, and we'll see all those named ranges have come back as Quintessence variable assignments. I'm going to click import and we're going to take a closer look at this. You see the variable starts with the variable name and then a colon and an equal. So this is assigning this value to the variable return and a semicolon to end the line. And over here, we can actually see that raw data is at the end. So we might want to actually reorganize this a little bit. I'm going to take the raw data and I'm going to paste it at the top. But what's great about this is I can now click execute and see what the report would create as a way of testing it. And I can also click save. So once I've saved this, I can take my report name, I can go back to Excel, and I could open a completely new workbook, say equals report, paste in portfolio 1 return, the name of my report, and this particular report is accessible from anyone. No matter what Excel sheet they're in, they can type in report portfolio 1 return. And that is the magic of reports. Now, this can be taken further to add in dynamic variables that allow you to have reports that perhaps get the returns of whichever portfolio you enter in or something like that, but we'll go into that in another video. I hope this has been useful and give you a great idea of what you can do with reports.